get out of here today, we need to get just this group photo.
Oh, this is an awesome group.
With everybody that's here.
Yeah.
From Bossier CAO Pam Glorioso, who's going to join us just after 8 o'clock. And Dodie Horton is still here, and State Representative. I mean, just it's awesome. 1017 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty at Bossier Civic Center, the Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Products Show. And Dixie Robertson, the executive director, is here again.
Discount blinds, whatever kind of blinds you're looking for, the latest and greatest, they've got them.
Yes, they can cover any window with whatever. They'll come out and tell you what the best product is for the lights you have, the amount of privacy you want to do. They will take care of it. They will cover your windows.
You've got to tell us about the louvered roof, because I like to sit out on my patio, kind of getting a little sun, and when people fly drones over my house, this louvered roof, I can close and open it as a drone approaches.
It's amazing. It's the Arcadia louvered roof.
Pardon me, I'm sorry. I know the whole story behind. Never mind. Go ahead.
Oh my God!
Okay. It is drone protection as well as just plain weather protection. But
weather or drones, whichever your needs are.
It's like a plantation shutter, but it's flat. So you have a cover over your roof, but it has wind sensors and water sensors. So if it starts to rain, it'll just close it up, and you'll be all covered and protected. So
oh my goodness.
Your patio furniture that you can't get wet.
Yeah.
And all that. So it's really they're really neat. And then the drone coverage as well.
I love that. Home Product Show opening this afternoon.
Yes, we'll open this afternoon at 5 o'clock. You can come right on down right after work. 5 to 8 today, 10 to 6 tomorrow, and then noon to 4 on Sunday.
And we're at the new location, Bossier Civic Center.
More on the way. Right now, here's Sean Hannity on KEEL. Yonder, Miss Erin has local news in a second or two.
We'll have the latest on the murder of a Shreveport police officer and an update on a double murder in Bossier City. Plus, heavy rains could have an impact here locally.
More guests on the way from the Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Products Show at the Bossier Civic Center.
We're dragging them in, huh?
Including Senator Barrow Peacock in a little bit, but coming up next is Bossier Mayor Lo Walker and Bossier CAO Pam Glorioso.
Big
Axe
guns.
throwers, if I ever saw a pair. Fletcher in Sports. No, toward Erin.
No!
Fletcher in Sports, traffic and weather, it's all coming up this hour, and it's right here on KEEL. Good morning. It's 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty live this morning from the Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Product Show at the Bossier Civic Center. And speaking of Bossier,
man, the big guns are here.
Could we have anybody better than Bossier City Mayor Lo Walker and Bossier City Chief Administrative Officer Pam Glorioso? Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you for joining us. The first thing, now this may be to some a trivial point with which to begin, but I was kind of serious about this axe throwing thing. That's all. I swear to you, in the last week, I have had at least 20 people, because, you know, your East Bank area, your Bojack's, the brewery down there, everything is just blowing up. It's awesome. And I want to know I want to know, and a lot of people I know want to know, there's really going to be a bar where you can drink beer and throw axes? Is this for real?
Sign us up.
And who signed off on this? Who approved this madness?
Well,
I guess that's you, Pam.
City council approves it.
As they do on all the things that, tell me about that, though. It's going to be awesome, and I'm being totally serious. What's the time frame?
Well, yeah, it's true. There's an axe throwing business. It's kind of the new trend with millennials that's kind of caught the rage from the West Coast over.
Like bowling with blades.
It's like bowling with blades. There'll be a target. There's a training period they go through.
Working on the waiver as we speak.
We're going to get the old film clip of the Johnny Carson show and have
with Ed Ames. I remember that. Oh my goodness. Aim for the crotch.
I didn't say that.
When's it going to open, Pam?
I'm not quite sure. I think they're still working on the building. They're working on some glitches on the codes of the building.
But in that area, you guys are still working on a number of potential tenants, et cetera.
There's a lot of good things going on down there. We're building more parking right now off of Coleman and Ogilvy Street to accommodate the people that are coming down there.
And you know what somebody told me is that the businesses that are there, specifically places like, you know, your traditional awesome places like L'Italiano, that they are doing more and better than ever because of some of these new
It's bringing
businesses.
a lot of foot traffic. Flying Heart's doing awesome.
Yeah.
They now are a bona fide restaurant selling pizza, as well as their microbrewed beer. Little Italiana is a staple in downtown Bossier. And then going down the street, we've got Retro 521 that's open in the morning for breakfast and coffee and sandwiches at lunch. And Bojack's. Bojack's has become a star.
Who's in charge of this joint? Oh, wait.
Me. But we're also redoing our alcoholic and permitting process down there, making it very specific so that we can provide all the amenities that people would want, but in a very controlled circumstance. And then we'll control the permitting and the other things go along with it to make it a more of a little bit more fun area, but tightly controlled. And
All right, y'all ready for the big question?
Sure.
Let's talk about Aunt B, the brain-eating amoeba. How's Bossier's water?
Bossier's water is fantastic.
Is the chlorine burn done? What happens now?
The chlorine cleanse is completed. The state was in this week doing testing. Couldn't do it last week as scheduled because of the weather, but all the testing has been done. They tested at the same locations the problem was found at, and we feel very confident that there's no problems at all. We have gone back to our regular scheduling of chlorine into the water, so the chlorine burn is completed.
What about the infrastructure, the pipes and all that? I mean, every city is facing this. About, you know, you've got an aging infrastructure. Is Bossier taking action to try to fix things?
let me just say,
Yeah.
The short answer is yes, but the good answer is we've been doing this for over 3 decades. When I came to work for the city, we were replacing all the old concrete pipes down in old downtown Bossier. Pam was involved with that, and we've been doing that the last 3 decades. We got a state-of-the-art water treatment plant. There's not one any better in the state. But you're right, the problem is in the distribution lines, and we've been systematically replacing those for over 3 decades, and we probably have more than 20 projects ongoing right now for lift stations and gravity mains and so on. So, Pam, you want to jump in there?
Bossier's being proactive to answer your question,
Okay.
Erin. We have done over $20 million worth of jobs in the last 2 years that I've been involved in. And by doing that, what we're doing is getting ahead of the curve. We're trying to get ahead so we don't get a federal consent decree saying you've got to do anything. We want to say, hey, we've done this. We're ready for the growth that we know is going to happen in South Bossier and North Bossier.
Mayor, what are your priorities for 2019? You've been mayor for years. What's 2019 going to bring for Bossier? Growth keeps coming.
Yeah,
So you got to keep up.
We have every reason to believe the growth will continue, and the parish is growing actually faster than the city. But we had an estimate out of the LSU and the Secretary of State's office about 6-8 months ago, which said as of July a year ago that our estimate for population was 70,322, and we have no reason to believe that that's not accurate. Which, if accurate, makes us the 6th largest city in the state and the largest, we're told, the fastest growing of the 6 largest cities. So we do anticipate continued growth.
You guys probably both want to comment about, obviously, Shreveport lost a police officer this week. You had a brutal double murder in Bossier City. I know you both probably have messages for SPD today and for your community in a week that it's just, I don't even have words for it. I really don't. Tragedy.
Yes, when something like that happens so completely uncalled for, it's just not words to say how it affects everybody, not just the family and the person involved, but it brings the whole law enforcement community, and everybody just has the same outgoing of concern and sympathy for the family and the senselessness of those sorts of events.
Pam and Robert, I'm sorry, I'm monopolizing here. One thing that I hear a lot about Bossier is traffic. I know, Mayor, you and I have talked about the traffic in North Bossier. And Pam, you and I may have talked the other day about there are ways to get around it that people may not know about. What are some solutions that y'all are working on to even alleviate the traffic even more?
Well, we're working on it right now. Erin, next Tuesday we'll open a bid on the first phase of the parkway improvements on Highway 80. We feel that will be one of the avenues that will take a lot of the traffic off and let it run smoother. We can't take traffic off anywhere because we've got nowhere to move it. But if we can make it smoother, calm it down, add traffic circles rather than stop signs that are traffic calming devices in planning, the new Walter Bigby Parkway carriageway, which continues to Benton Road, will be the next phase of it. What we're doing now, we're adding some new roads. Innovation Drive is a new road that'll run parallel to I-220 to help relieve some of the traffic coming from Stonebridge, Tiburon, and North Bossier residences to Airline Drive. We'll give them another opportunity to move traffic. But the plantation extension that you and I have talked about, it helps move traffic off of Airline Drive and gets you around some of that traffic. A lot of traffic, a lot of people. You got to realize, just talked about the population growing. Every household has on average 2 to 2.5 cars per household now. So you've got more people on the roads.
Mm-hmm.
I might add, Pam's already touched on some of these, but we're looking at Melrose Extension and the Coleman Street down in the downtown area. Of course, it touched on the Bigby.
Right. What we're in downtown in the East Bank District, we're going to still continue to work down there. Coleman Street, which is the street directly in front of Bossier High School, we're widening that street to accommodate future growth in downtown Bossier. We just recently sold 13.5 acres to a specialty hospital, so we know we'll have more foot traffic, more cars on those streets. Those are improvements we'll be making this coming year. Shed Road will be completed in the month. It will be, yay!
Maybe.
We're having a party.
Cross your fingers. I'll bring a cake.
It'll be completed, and the mayor touched on it. Melrose Extension from Airline Drive back to the new Plantation Drive Extension will happen. That will take a lot of traffic off of Airline Drive there at the Walmart.
Mm-hmm. Can't thank you both enough. Mayor, go ahead.
I was just going to say, the number one concern of the citizens of Bossier City is traffic congestion, but we're always going to have issues with traffic congestion. Just by the way our city is configured, we got out the west gate of Barksdale. It's less than a quarter mile at the Red River, then the 22,000 acres on the east side, and the railroad tracks all over the place, and they'll tell you in a heartbeat that they were here first, and I'm not too concerned about it. But we are doing all these things to sort of mitigate that with dedicated turn lanes and widening these roads and so on. So a lot of, probably 50, 60 parishes in the states would die to have our traffic problems. but we know they are an inconvenience, and we're constantly working to reduce that.
Mayor Lou Walker, Pam Glorioso, CAO, thanks for having us in Bossier today. I hope we can come back. We're not banned.
Well, you can come back anytime. I don't know about old what's his name.
Old what's his name? I can handle what's his name, the old part. Wow, zinga. 101.7 FM, 710 Keel, Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty live this morning. Bossier Civic Center, Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Products Show. More is on the way. Traffic update for Friday morning right now. Here's Ruben. Show. Nobody cares. 101.7 FM and 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty from the Bossier Civic Center this morning live for the Home Products Home Builders Association.
Do you know my butt slides really good on granite?
Of Northwest Louisiana Home Products Show. Who knew? On that upbeat note, joining us for a couple of seconds is State Senator Barra Peacock. First thing I'd like to know is what's the possibility of banning granite in Louisiana?
Well, I want to welcome you to Senate District 37, which is Shreveport Bossier, and there's plenty of granite to be sold here in Bossier today.
Getting ready for another legislative session.
April the 8th will be in Baton Rouge.
The state Senate a little different than the state House of Representatives. What's going to happen in there with, bluntly speaking, where the governor has a little more juice, the Dems have a little more power, and thanks to guys like you, I'm not going to say the last bastion of defense, but you know what I mean.
Well, I'm glad to read in the paper that the governor's not for any taxes this year.
What?
So that's what I've reported. So it must be an election year or something like that.
The last thing I read, and we can start here as we discussed with Miss Doty and Mr. Raymond Cruz, is that I'm not sure he's off of that gas tax increase, though. Do you really? I mean, his number was what, 40 cents at one point?
17 cents is what I believe they were starting with, and they want to, of course, index.
Well, that was what they thought they might get. So,
I think we need to look at our sister states of how they fund their roads, and Texas does it with a sales tax, and you need to dedicate part of that sales tax to roads. We don't do that in Louisiana. When someone buys a car, that sales tax, some of that sales tax should go to roads, shouldn't it?
But at the end of and I've said this for 1,000 years, and I know this is, I'm throwing out a big wide net here. But what I've said for a long time is when it comes to Louisiana is What does Texas do that we don't? We ought to start. What do we do Texas doesn't? We ought to quit. And the biggest thing in the state of Texas is local government basically.
I'm not going to give up our good food for Texas.
You got
No,
a point.
no,
Texas does
let's
not
not.
have our good
Yeah.
food.
No.
But Texas is an example of how local government helps a state function and succeed.
You're correct on
And
that.
we have this massive bureaucracy in Baton Rouge that has just grown and grown through the years.
Local government shouldn't have to come to Baton Rouge to get funding for their schools, shouldn't have to get supplemental pay. You know, we want to support and Officer Payne and the family in the Shreveport Police Department, our hearts go out to them. But you were talking about funding. You know, state government funds local government supplemental pay for law enforcement. Should that be there? Should that really be a function? Yes, we want to absolutely support law enforcement across the state, but part of the salary comes from supplemental pay that goes to Baton Rouge, then comes back to local government. Is that the right way to handle it?
Do we have it upside down? Yeah, you can make the case real easy.
Yes.
Senator Barrow Peacock is joining us. We're at the Bossier Civic Center for the Home Products Show. The governor says two of his priorities this year for the session will be teacher pay increases and raising the minimum wage. A lot of teachers will tell you they're often used as a hot potato in an election year, and this looks to be no different. Are you suspect of that?
No, I think we all want to support education in the state of Louisiana. And listening earlier, I think the legislature wants to give teachers a pay raise. Bossier is making that step. I was at the Bossier School Board last night. They're making that step to pay teachers with local funds. So they're stepping up to the plate. There will be hopefully a push from the legislature to fund education more. But those decisions, I believe, of how you're going to pay need to be made at the local level. It doesn't need to be dictated by Baton Rouge. Here's money, it needs to go there. If we're going to have education, it's going to go fund the local education. Let's let our school boards determine how they allocate that money.
And ask their voters if
That's
they
right.
want
And
to pay teachers?
And Bossier is going to do that. They are going to go to the voters of Bossier Parish and ask for them to support teachers here in Bossier and support workers. And we're in a competitive environment. Teachers are doing more and more for our children, and that's something that Bossier is going to have to really study, and I think the citizens of Bossier will support their teachers.
His other priority, the minimum wage increase. Arkansas just went up the new year to $9.25. Do you support a state minimum wage?
I support market forces determining how much someone should be paid. And I don't believe anybody in Louisiana is probably being paid at that minimum wage other than students when you're giving them that first job. And Robert, you talk about the automation when you go to Kroger and you're using that pay. When you pay, you scan your own stuff. You don't go to the more and more government starts raising that wage and not letting market forces determine it, you're going to see more of our country go to automated checkouts at grocery stores and at Home Depot. And that's something that's forcing that. And you're seeing that McDonald's is going to more automation. And those are some of the
about
forces.
30 seconds left. At the end of the day, isn't the governor's move toward minimum wage increase? He knows it's got no shot. Isn't that just a political ploy on his part, really?
I agree with you. He's tried it the past 3 years. There have been votes that have not gotten out of the Senate Finance Committee. There have been votes that have not made it through the Senate floor, and the same on the House of Representatives. It is not. Market forces need to be there, and I think in Louisiana our wages are rising, but it's because of the national economy increasing.
Louisiana State Senator Barrow Peacock, a pleasure as always. Thank you for taking time
thank you
for
for
us.
being here in Senate District 37 and come out again.
Home Product Show going on at the Bossier Civic Center. This is awesome. Can I go play some more?
Please do.
Okay.
As soon as possible. Details on the way from the Bossier Civic Center, Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana. Home Product Show coming back in just a couple of seconds. Local news on the way. Traffic update now on KEEL. Here's Ruben. free before 9 o'clock. We are live this morning from the Bossier Civic Center. Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Product Show, and Ms. Dixie Robertson, the executive director
Head cheese
of said organization, is back once again. Erin has been wandering, going out on these scouting missions. During the commercial breaks. What have you seen lately?
Well, I'm looking at some of these folks are like a one-stop shop.
Exactly. I know what you're talking about because I saw you over there at Louisiana Home Center. Lots of eye candy.
Yes.
Lots of good stuff. They have all the fun stuff, as I like to say. They've got the flooring, the lighting, the cabinets, the countertops, and they have all in their showroom. They have a catalog. They're a great vendor to visit if you have any kind of project going because they're going to have something that you need.
And let me ask you, Louisiana Home Center can be like, let's say you tried to do something yourself at your home and you did it much like Robert might do. You screwed it up, but you need somebody to step in and fix it and get it right.
Are there photos I don't know about?
Louisiana Home Center can step in then and take over the project and take care of it, right?
Well, now they sell the product.
Right.
But
they can point you in the right direction. Right.
To fix it, you would need someone else, like one of our vendors that is actually a contractor. Duggan and Fine is an example of that. Jim Fine and Sam Duggan, they're right here in Bossier City. They've been in business for over 30 years. They have a great partnership. They have Jim takes care of all the business end of it, and then Sam is the project manager. So they'll come in and fix your boo-boos, or they'll just come in and start from scratch. Whether you want to build a whole house or just do a remodel, they're a great source for you. And they'll be here all weekend too. So again, just a great chance to visit face-to-face.
Speaking of all weekend, run down hours and information. I know you guys have a great Facebook page if people want to check out everything, sort of get an overview.
Yes, for sure. We'll open the doors to the public this evening at 5 o'clock. We'll be here from 5 to 8 tonight, and then tomorrow all day from 10 to 6, and then Sunday afternoon, noon to 4.
Got to run right now, but you'll join us one more time before we go, I hope.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm going to go play in the tubs again.
Robert J. Wright, Erin McCarty, Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Product Show at the Bossier Civic Center. More is on the way. It's 8:39, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Ruben. Jay Wright and Erin McCarty. Don't forget the KEEL app is always a free download from Office Furniture Source. What? Another guest here at the Bossier Civic Center? Why don't you take this one over?
This is Bruce Wilson. He's the head cheese of the United Way of Northwest Louisiana. Is that the official title, head cheese?
I've been called worse.
Okay.
Not this morning.
I was looking over this Alice report, and,
right.
and you know, I was talking to your folks this morning. I think the thing that report made me feel
Hang on just a second. Pardon me, ladies and gentlemen.
It's a report about poverty.
Let's give a little background. ALICE is an acronym for
Asset
Limited, Income Constrained,
Employed.
And
Erin, let me just do a little tweaking. It's not a poverty report.
Right.
It's a report showing who the working poor are,
Right.
and what their struggles are.
The word that came to mind for me, Bruce, I hope you don't mind if I call you that, was sad.
Well, it's sobering. It's sobering.
Yeah.
From our previous, this is now our third iteration release of the report. From the first time we released in 2014 till now, what we've seen is that the percentage of the working poor in our society has increased rather
Let's
than
throw
decreased.
some numbers at folks. Pardon me, Mr. Bruce. Let's throw some numbers out, because if memory serves, from a couple of days ago, maybe yesterday, it's in Bossier Parish, it's 45%.
46, I believe.
46, and Caddo was 53 in, bluntly speaking, poverty. Those are some pretty heady numbers. Those are some pretty sobering statistics, right?
And so, Robert, when you go out and you look at a crowd of people, you can say about half of them are one crisis away from just total chaos in their lives. I mean, the people we're talking about, we have approximately 24% of the population are living at the federal poverty line, which is mandate, whereas for a family of four is $22,000 and below. That's been that way for decades. It's never changed. It's a bogus, it's a figure we shouldn't even talk about, but we do. So we have 24% of the population living there in our 10 parish service area. On top of that, though, we've got 28% who are living below what is called a stable household family budget that they can save some money and put it away. And so people are out there and they're working 2-3 jobs. They're paying as much in child care as they are for their rent. They are not able to save. They're not carrying insurance. And so if you're a mom and you've got to take your kids to daycare and then you have to go to work and then you get a phone call from the daycare saying your child is running a fever, you need to come get your child, and they do, and that happens for several days in a row, guess what she's not going to have? A job.
Anything left over or a job.
And so all of a sudden they're in trouble. Or the car breaks down. What do I not spend money on? Do I not spend money on food to fix the car? Or do I, for instance, not get my prescription drugs filled
Perfect.
to fix
A
the
point
car?
Erin made last week, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I go to the drugstore. I need 3 medications. And with my insurance, they say it's $126. And I went, wow, I'm lucky. I could afford the $126. But I thought, what about the people who, at Christmas time, I can't write this. I can't.
And Erin, so what we do at United Way, we use that study to focus what we spend the money on that people give to us. One of the things we do is we supply people with what's called a FamilyWise card, and it's a discount prescription service. And there's an app that goes on your smartphone. It'll tell you what that drug costs at various pharmacies throughout the city, and you will see that there's a wide variation.
Oh, boy.
But we do that so that folks can get a little margin in their lives.
I want that, Bruce.
You know, and so we do that. We do 211. People can call. And by the way, if we have any federal workers who are being furloughed and are not getting a paycheck today and they've got some issues in their life, dial 211.
Tell me about that.
211 is a dialing code given to us by, or reserved by the, or whatever the state calls its thing that governs
The Department of Redundancy Department.
Well, that would be a good name, but
Okay.
they're good people. But anyway, what it is the whole state is connected. So if you dial 211, you're going to be answered live, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, and they're going to ask you, very nice, what zip code do you live in? And then they're going to ask you what's your issue that you need help with in their human service, and so. Once you say that, then up pops on their screen all the resources that are available for you in that area that you're living in that you can get in
Just
touch
like
with.
3 digits on the phone away.
That's it.
211. And this is a United Way thing.
That's it. It's United Way.
Bruce, let me ask you. Bruce Wilson's with the
Pardon me
United
just
Way.
a second.
Wait, I got to
Okay,
get.
no, go ahead.
I got to get, because you heard maybe all these lawmakers sitting in that chair earlier today talking about the minimum wage, not being paid to anybody but students. Do you agree with that? Do you think minimum wage in our state needs to be addressed to help those folks that are living right there on the edge?
Oh, I'm not smart enough to answer that question. They are living on the edge, and we do have to find some solutions to them. I do know that the way out of poverty is to make more money than you're having to spend for your basic needs. And so, another thing we do, Erin, is called Bank On Northwest Louisiana.
Mm-hmm. Very familiar.
We give people free financial counseling. We help them get a bank account or get rebanked. We help them with their EITC, which is Earned Income Tax Credit. We also supply help. If you make $55,000 a year or less, we can get your taxes done free of charge. What? So instead of going to these shysters who are charging you $300 to $500 to get your income tax, or these people who say, come by and we'll get you your money early. What people don't realize is you're taking a loan out when you do that, and you've got to pay, so they're bad things. We'll do your taxes
We've got
for free.
just about a minute or so. What I'm learning from you this morning, based on the Alice report and your responses to that, what you're talking about as far as the different apps, the 211 number, everything else, that United Way is, as much as anything else, an organization that is you are as up to date and 21st century digital as anything I can think of.
Right, and I would encourage people to go to our website, which is unitedwaynwla.org. But I want to say this. We've changed. United Way used to be a pass-through organization. You'd give me money, and I'd turn around and give it to other people. But we've changed because we have specific things we're trying to see accomplished, and so we have these internal programs that we're using to fund those. We're funding these programs that are bringing services directly to people, and I'd encourage to give us a call at our office and or come down. I generally keep the water hot and give you a cup of coffee.
United Way, NWLA.org.
Correct, Robert.
Great stuff, amigo. Great to see you. Love
Thanks,
the watch.
Robert. Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Erin.
coming in. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
Bruce Wilson, United Way, 101.7 FM, 710 Keel. Your money now, just a couple of seconds away. Brought to us by Barksdale Federal Credit Union. Traffic update now. Here's Ruben. and white. And I'm wearing the left one is black today, the right one is white.
Kind of like his underwear.
1017 FM. 1017. Wow. Good thing we're at the Home Product Show. 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Robert J. Wright and Erin McCarty wrapping up at the Bossier Civic Center this weekend, today, tomorrow, Sunday, the Home Builders Association of Northwest Louisiana Home Product Show. And here for a couple of more seconds is Executive Director Dixie Robertson.
Everything you want to remodel a home, do a new kitchen, do a new bathroom, you can find it all here, correct?
That's right, or even build from scratch. You can bring your plans. There's plenty of people you can show them to if you're starting the process. There are lots of people here who can help you get started.
There's not just people and pictures and all that. You have tubs, you have brick walls, you have outdoor kitchens in there. You have everything you can envision in your home. You're going to see it in this show.
Exactly. You can see it. You can touch it. You can choose. Exactly.
You can fondle it.
And hey, we're just using that F word a little too freely, ladies.
Yeah, we are.
But it's not only indoor stuff, and when I say indoor stuff, everything from lighting to floors to cabinets to counter to everything, literally everything. But it's outdoor stuff too, like pools and decks and patios, and you were talking about the covered roofs for outdoors and stuff like that. There is nothing that's not taken care of this weekend.
That's right. We've got it all. And the things to build the house with, from trusses to brick.
And banks and financing you had mentioned.
That's right. And actual contractors and remodelers have booths too, so you can come and visit with the actual person that would be doing the work.
The best thing about this show, if you've never been to the Home Product Show, is that if you envision something that, say, like somebody like an Oprah Winfrey might have at her home, you know, the latest and greatest, you've got it here. Shreveport-Bossier has builders, has contractors, has companies that can do it right here, and you'll see it all here.
That's very true. And like we mentioned earlier in the show, we've got we're at the front end of the trends. So when you're doing that kind of work, you want to know what's next, what's coming out. You know, things trickle to the south from the east and west coast when it comes to design trends and technology too. You know, the insulation, the shingles, all the different products have so much technology to keep up with that these are the professionals in the industry. They know what is going on in the market and they can bring it to you.
Apologies, ladies, got to run hours today at the Bossier Civic Center, 5 until
8 to 9,
and tomorrow
10 to 6.
And Sunday noon to 4?
That's right.
And you've got a Facebook page?
Yeah, just search Home Builders of Northwest Louisiana and you'll see our event page. Or you can go to our website, nwlahba.org.
Awesome. Got to go. Bossier Civic Center. Robert and Erin back Monday morning 6 till 9, 1017 FM, 710 Keel. Here's Kim Commando.